Hello. Jump scare, everyone. Yeah, I mean, countdown is not quite done, but I'm here. I'm ready, so we're gonna start. Let's get going. Hello. This is I. Well, this is I. It is I, as the dev. Welcome to my channel. Another day of game development upcoming here. Some good news. We're getting our progress done. I haven't done anything since our last stream, but I'm going to say that still we're on track. Bad news, those who have been following me, my AC is still broken. I just got an email today being like, apartment is like, oh, hey, sorry, so sorry. The parts that we ordered is a wrong part. We ordered a new part. It's going to take us 3 weeks. So we're going without an AC for about a month and 2 weeks total. Not happy. I think, and it's only our floor, so people are not very happy. We'll see. I do wish to get compensated somehow, but we'll see. Hello, Mr. Protector. Welcome. All right, we're going to continue making our actions. I think some of these things cannot really be implemented until we have the turns. For example, like skipping a turn doesn't really have any meaning in terms of action if there is no turn to be had. So we'll figure it out. Hey, Grace. Grace Chan says, cool that you're doing a live stream. Oh, yeah, of course. Thanks for being here. I'm guessing you found me through YouTube and never never caught my live stream before. I do try my best to stream Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, my time, which is Pacific time. Typically in the afternoon, but I'm going to try to see if I can change it to morning, or at least mix it up a little bit, because I know that some of the people in Europe and other countries outside of US like the earlier time better. So we'll see. We'll figure it out. But here we are. We're making our Dread on Arrival, a spacefaring mystery adventure game that's loosely inspired by FTL and Darkest Dungeon. We have been working on our design doc to lock down some of the design decision, and we said on the roadmap we're gonna finish a demoable Steam release version by 2026 October. Ambitious, but I think we can do it. But our first goal is the roguelike version of this game should be done by October 13th. Grace says, yeah, YouTube doesn't normally recommend me live streams, but this is a good rec for me. Oh, that's great. Yeah, no, I mean, YouTube and live stream is, I have such a mixed relationship with it. Because part of me is like, well, I know my video, well, like me as a YouTube viewer as well, don't often like follow people for their live stream. And it gets kind of annoying if I get like notification for them. So I think it has some negative effect, but we'll see. Maybe they'll fix it. All right. Anyways, so we are working on our Dread on Arrival. So far, so good. We have quite a bit done so far. Let's see. So we have this combat tester thing where I can just choose a type of combat and start the combat. And last time we did selection of the crew. We can change the location of the crew and then decide to turn off a station or turn it on. Only if there's like enough power, and we can turn the O2 off, which makes this like O2 level red when you turn it off. That needs to be, I thought about how I'm going to indicate that the O2 is flowing out, and turning it off just means turning the valve off, meaning it just doesn't take the supply into it. Another way to do this is maybe like have a little pipe drawn. That could be interesting, but we'll see. Anyways, I think next important thing is move, which is going from tile to tile. It only can be done when you're in navigation. Given that, okay, funny thing about this isometric grid mode, I'm not using time-lapse layer. I don't know if you could have guessed that already, but I have this thing called battle grid. Look at this, right? You can decide what the map size is, and it'll draw this grid 4x4, for example. Decide what the tile size is as well, so I can make it like a little bit narrower if I wanted to. And then I can change the view angle. So the idea is, are you looking at it from top down, or are you looking at it at an angle? So it does that. So I made this system for this particular thing. Downside of doing this in this way, the good thing is that I get to draw this, I can color however I want, I can visually render things programmatically without relying on sprites and the grid map layer. But downside, of course, is having to kind of homebrew every solution, including figuring out where the mouse pointer is. So we'll see. Let's see. I think there are a few suggestions out there being like, hey, don't draw the grid unless there's like a unit on top of it, like have a little fading out grid around the unit so it feels a little bit more spacey. I like that idea, maybe in the future. But for now, we're just going to try to move pieces around here. We already have place piece or like get position of the grid position thing here somewhere. Let's see, grid to local, right? It converts the grid position like 1-1 into something more like position of the game itself or Godot. So we can do that. I think the movement and piece management should happen at the higher level, not by the grid, but we'll see. Let me see how I'm placing the piece first. Piece. I am adding it as the child of the battle grid. Okay. That's okay, I think. So maybe when we're adding things... I mean, the combat map already includes what's within the tiles. And I had it so that on the upper level, this configuration, so the pieces are organized as a sparse array, basically, where the coordinates, the grid coordinate is the key, and then the objects are included in it. And that is being translated onto graphical thing at this point. Now I need to make it so that this graphical update happens automatically by changing the source of truth, which is the data. And this would be basically MVP or MVC model. Noxibo says, yo, thanks for the dialogue system. Looking forward to using the visual part in the editor once I have it working. I do wonder if it works on 4.5. I know I had to make some changes to make it work in 4.4 because they made some updates, but it should be working. If you're having any trouble, let me know. I mean, I had a lot of trouble myself. And then I tried to make changes that makes it easier, but I know some people have a hard time. But no problem. I do want to make new changes. My next thing is making internationalization and like the internationalization slash like string ID a little bit easier. You know, string ID is not necessarily just for internationalization and translation, but should be fairly easy. People should be able to implement their own versions of it given how it's implemented, but I guess that's where I need to release my tech doc for people to have more knowledge and flexibility. I haven't looked at its GitHub in a while, so I haven't done any pulls of anybody's fork requests. We'll see. But yeah, no problem. Thanks for using it. I still think it's one of the better tools out there as far as dialogue is concerned. But I do need to clean it up so I can release it on the Godot asset library. I just don't have the confidence yet to release it on Godot asset library. I think there's a beta version of this. It's not this one, is it? There's like a asset store, not library. I do want to keep it free. Maybe I could keep the original version free and then like maybe the future updates be a pay version. Because like original version can do everything. It just doesn't have some of this quality of life stuff. Perhaps that's the idea. this thing. This was released not too long ago. You know, I should try to utilize this more, honestly. I should probably bookmark this. Under programming, maybe? Under game? Let's see. Bookmark this tab. We'll put it under rental. No. We'll put it under game dev, probably. We'll have to make one, though. Godot. Maybe specifically Godot. Yeah, this will be useful. Let's take a look later. Ooh, rich text 3D. Some interesting stuff. Hey, Covino. Wait, is today your off day? Yes, it is Wednesday, huh? Oh, by the way, check out my commission artwork that I've been working on. It's so difficult. Making slow progress. I should really be charging more. But yes, I do art commission. Apparently. For practice. I mean, if it was actually like my day job or whatever, if I'm trying to make money off of it, I should probably charge more, but here we are. Hey, have you released any video yet, Covino? I know you've been working on that for a while. Honestly, I do think there's like, I've kind of pigeonholed myself into a certain type of YouTube, but so I've just finished rendering the face. I think this is my like best render so far. But yeah, look at this strange posture that I was requested to make. So I'm doing it. I'm making it, guys. Look at that. I do think that this is a really good work today. Anyways, here we go. Kumi says, dang, that looks fire. Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. Now you need to commission me for your artwork. I'll draw your capsule art if you release. Only one and it was bad, lol. Bad as in like it was bad or it didn't do well. Honestly, here's the thing. If you just talk at the camera, like when you're beginning out, that'll do so much better. If you just have like, oh, I want to talk about this, like something that you feel passionate about within the space, it doesn't have to be a tutorial. I think it'll do better. I think I'm gonna switch over to that. I have had some success in the beginning, being more natural, and then I start to become like more curated, and then like, you know, trying to be fancier. I think that really deterred myself. Like it strayed me away from the purpose of what I was doing, and then the thing that people liked about my content. So we'll see. I'll take a look. I'll take a look at your channel later, Covino. Anyways, we want to move pieces, and we've already said over here. The pieces are okay. So we have a combat map with combat information, which holds information about the situation here, and I use that to initialize the grid. But what I think I need to do instead of using it just once, I do think that it needs to go into the game state, right? As in this game state, the combat game state. So we're gonna take in the combat map info, which will be frozen combat map, and then do this combat state, combat map info. We'll take in the map itself, and when we're initializing objectives and all that, we're gonna have a new one where this is an objective display. Okay, we'll probably need to initialize the battle grid here. So battle grid takes in this information. We'll say battle grid. I guess battle grid really doesn't need to do anything. It just needs to automatically detect it. Maybe it doesn't need to. Cowboy Goose says, what's the game you're working on today? Oh, we're working on Dread on Arrival. One or two sentence pitch right now is explore the unknown space with a uniquely hand-built ship and crew. In this retro-futuristic game, navigate through hazards and events while managing the sanity of your crew. Are we truly alone here? I think some promotional keywords are FTL and Darkest Dungeon. Combine? What is it? It should be like a fusion of FTL and Darkest Dungeon with the narrative, environmental puzzle and narrative of Outer Wilds. I think that would be my promotional keyword, because I think this delivers a clear picture for people who love indie game, and this is for people who have no context, I think. Hey, Pax Flora, throwback to Vista. That's right. Our overlay is okay. So my partner does some graphic stuff and she has created this asset pack or overlay pack. So I'm using that as kind of an advertisement. I can never remember the link, but it is what it is. Ismet says, oh my gosh, Internet Explorer 7. Hey, it's a nostalgia thing. Kawagu says, very cool. Thank you. Grace says, yeah, that's good promo line. Thank you. Appreciate that. Of course, I'm always taking suggestions to update. Noxibo says, I'll downgrade. Oh, the dialogue plugin that I created. Yes. I'll downgrade for if I have to. Huge fan of visual systems. I'm moving from RenPy to Godot. And it's so much nicer to use better visual helper system. Yeah. And, you know, you probably saw that video. My philosophy on visual programming is that it needs to train you into programming regularly. Visual organization is long-term. Organizing visually helps a lot. But programming visually, it helps in the beginning when you don't know what's going on. But once you get used to things, I saw this when I was creating like visual programming for kids and, you know, clients and stuff like that in my past jobs. It always gets in the way. Like after like a month or two of using and people are like, I know how to use it. Dropping and dragging and dropping or like selecting from the drop down menu is such a waste of time. It's a hassle. Like you often go, I wish I could just copy and paste here and then change the little thing. Or like, I wish I could just type and see it all at once. So that was the design philosophy on that tool. Hopefully that works. Pack says, Internet Explorer 7 Vista vibes are cool with me. Controversial opinion, but Vista XP were my fave Windows OS. I think XP, I don't think that's controversial. Vista, maybe. Vista was controversial because it was really bad in the beginning. And they fixed it, and it became nice. XP was truly the GOAT, I think, at the time. That was like the peak Windows. Though I would say the longevity was on 98. Windows 98 was the most stable, what made Windows Windows. Some might argue Windows 3.1 was the thing, but it's like, I don't think so. I think Windows 97, 98 was where it was at. Because during the height of 280, that's when like the Pentium first came out, right? Remember Pentium? Dude, that was supposed to be the cutting edge back in the day. It was a 286. I had 286, 386, 486, and then you get Pentium, right? Yeah, good old times. Ismet says, I'm not nostalgic for the browser that broke so many standards. True. It's just the aesthetics, okay? The reason I personally like this aesthetic is because it's not because of the Internet Explorer. I think what I like about that is our chat window is a instant messenger chat window. I've done a lot of flirting in those in those times of using AIM back in the day in high school and middle school. Myth says, duh, Windows Me forever. Okay, well, I don't know if you used Windows Me back then, because like it was supposed to be for server, right? No. Windows Me wasn't a server. That was the first time they tried to attempt dividing single household computer with multi-user access, right? Yeah. It got really confusing. I mean, at the time, I didn't understand anything, I think. I think Windows 2000 was a server, yeah. Oh, yeah, Isbeth says, apparently Windows 2000 server was rock solid. Apparently so. To a point where a lot of people use it, but it was so bad. Like, anytime I had to inherit a Windows 2000 server, the whole, like, because we're so used to, like, remotely logging into our server with the Unix command line / Unix, visualizer, that when it came to Windows, which already has a visual representation, remotely connecting to it was a little bit of a hassle, kind of interestingly enough, especially if you're using non-Windows machine. Let's see. Pros and cons. McCoy says, I hate my brain. Can't come up with 1 or even 2 projects to work on to add to my projects to show companies. Depending on what you want to do with your company time. I do think that I don't know. Because working on project itself is not that impressive, I think. I think being able to showcase like organizational structure, working with people, that's probably better than working on something by yourself, as hindering as it is to work with people. How about this, Mikori? You're supposed to make the voice system for the speech-to-text system for our chat on Godot. That showcases using API, thinking about shared responsibility of code, working on a repository, and that's a project. So if you can actually figure out, because my requirement for you would be, make a Godot plugin where I can just call something or log in and call something through the library or the plugin, that it would just convert text to speech. Like, that's a whole thing you can release too without being involved with me. That's a project. I think that's a good experience. Not me trying to convince one of my viewers to do projects that involves helping me. But yeah. Myth says, nah, my dad installed it on our house PC and it sucked Lamau. Yeah, Windows Me, I think, was really bad at the time. I think Windows always has that one Windows that everybody skips, right? Like every 2 windows. Or every other window. Ismet says, the aim window is sweet. Yeah. It would be really fun if the warning level actually increased based on message content. Yeah. Should do that. I had to do a quick change on the style of the chat on the display because the text, I didn't know how to change the font to black. Of course, it's true. Yes, it is true. I mean, until you have your idea, you could work on it. It's something. I don't know. It could be fun. Also, aren't you like mod to like 10 different streamers out here? I'm sure everybody can use it. Anyways, Noxibo on YouTube says, any advice for beginner solo dev regarding constantly putting too much pressure on yourself? I am such an awful boss to myself. Okay, what kind of pressure? Pressure of like parents telling their children to clean their room, or pressure of like, oh, I need to do more, so I'm gonna stay up, or yeah, like, telling yourself you're dumb, or what kind of pressure are we talking about? Because things will differ. I think our advice will differ. Our advice would differ depending on what kind of pressure we're talking about. Noxibo says, yeah, to do more work. Yeah. Okay. How about this? Let's do a little therapy here. I'm not licensed to therapize anyone, so don't take my word for it. But I think we can think critically at least, right? What are you feeling? What are you feeling when you think I need to do more work? Like, you feel like, oh, I haven't done enough. And then your brain goes, you should be doing something more. And do you feel bad in response because you couldn't fulfill it and you don't do it? Even though you're like, oh, I should be doing it. I should be doing it. Yet you can't get yourself to do it, so you feel worse. Versus your brain goes, you should do it, and you get up and you do it. Then the problem is you're now physically ill because you keep listening to your brain. What is the situation here? Mikori says, yeah. Mikori is everywhere. The first one? Mikori is the first one? Like you feel bad because you're procrastinating and you can't beat your procrastination, right? I think that's a lot of people's problem too. I have some thought on it. Of course, what I say will not solve the issue immediately, but I have a thought. Noxibo says, the first one for sure. I fight back at this point. Yeah. You know what's funny? Who's telling you that? Like that voice, where does it come from? I think you do want to think about that. Hey, Asi. Mikuri says, like, I want to do things and I know I should, but I get stuck like a rock. All right, there's two folds. One, should you really be doing something else? Like, is that should or you want to, but you can't, you feel bad because you can't do what you want? One, that's different, right? It's like realizing you want to do something and circumstance and energy level preventing you from doing those things is different from feeling like I should be doing something because some invisible entity taught you to do that. It's like, you're worthless if you're not doing any more work. You're worthless because you're not productive. Is that truly your voice or did you learn that? That's one thing to realize, I think. If you do want to do it, but you realize you can't do as much as you want, I do think that you should be able to forgive yourself, right? Which is to say, it's like, in order for you to perform well in an interview, you do need to sleep a certain amount, right? And it's part of the calculation. Like, it's like the diminishing return, right? You got to realize rest and procrastination is part of doing the work. You just got to realize your capacity. And as long as you're hitting your capacity, you're okay. So for example, you could say, hey, like if I drive 10 hours straight, I could arrive at a location within 10 hours. But you will feel awful afterwards, or you risk having an accident. So then if you're thinking about the most beneficial way to do this, where the end result is that you're both enjoying the trip and you are guaranteeing a safe arrival, you would argue you should take longer. Like, there's no reason to get there in 10 hours. You can get there in 15 or even 24 hours. You just take a rest and enjoy everything else. That's part of the work. And oftentimes what I realize is that when you procrastinate or when you're trying to rest, if your brain is going, I should not be resting, it makes it worse, right? Because you're not resting. It's stressful to rest. The whole time you're resting, you're thinking about working, which makes you unable to enjoy your rest. So you just got to commit to resting. You just got to be like, this is part of the process. I am working by resting, and I will enjoy my rest. Now, there's a big part of trusting yourself that you will, so this is why I asked if you want to do it. Because if you do want to do it, there comes a point of procrastination when you're like actually like committing full of like, okay, I'm just going to enjoy this. I don't feel guilty about it. I know it's really hard to control that part, but once something clicks, I think you're able to do it. Once you say, I'm not going to feel guilty about resting, there comes a point as long as you want to do these things, you want to create these things, there's a spark of inspiration that comes with the rest where you are able to make progress and not feel bad about it, is how I feel, at least. And some people have opposite problems. Some people just don't feel motivation at all. They're like, I'm happy to bed rot all day. It's okay, even though I want it. And that's a different issue, I think. McCory says, like, I want to do things and I know I should, but I get stuck like a rock. Hasi says, please send me some of that pressure. I really need it to do some study. McCory says, true. McCory says, therapist Ezra TM. I would make a bad therapist because I don't think that actual therapist would make any like recommendation. I think because that's less about recommending what people should do, but I think it's more like, from my experience, my life tip, I think. Noxibo says, oof, I think the hardest part is giving myself more time to do it. It's never done fast enough. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Yeah, I mean, I get that feeling. I wish I could finish this. But you know what helps? Realistically doing roadmap. And I think this is why a lot of ADHD people do succeed with deadlines. I know some people, like, as soon as there's deadline, you wait until the last minute, but then you do it at the deadline. But even that's part of it, right? Give yourself a small goal. Small goal that is achievable. And enjoy it. Then you can do that. And sometimes you go, hey, I achieved enough small goal that my next small goal is to play Marvel Rivals all day, you know, or whatever. That can be it. You see your progress where you can feel less bad about not hitting it, you know, and be flexible. Because if you've never done this, if you've never done the whole like small goal planning, that's learning. That's you learning how fast you can work or how much capacity you have. So take it as an experiment to figure out what your capacity is. So even if you fail, you're not going, dang, I didn't do it, I'm such a bad person. Or like, I should be doing, I feel bad. It's more like, okay, well, I see that my capacity is 3 hours of working every 2 days. You know about that yourself. And you know what's good about figuring that out? When you really need to push yourself, you can pre-plan being like, okay, well, my capacity is 3 hours, but I can push for 5 hours and feel okay, as long as I do it only once a week type of thing. Then all of a sudden you have your scale. And guess what? Once you get used to achieving in those small increments, I think your brain, I mean, for me at least, start to enjoy that dopamine hit of achieving small goals, where your capacity for sitting through things become longer. Because from my experience, you learn to clearly visualize yourself achieving it. Because you know what people say? People are like, oh yeah, think about the short-term gain of what you will gain. Focus on that, then you're able to do the next step. Thing is, if you can't imagine finishing it, you can't get yourself to imagine and feel those feelings to motivate yourself to push yourself. But once you start realizing your capacity, and once you start making small achievements that you feel achieved by, you feel not guilty about, then it kind of has that positive cycle of like continuously working through. Anyways, I know I'm doing game dev, but we're just talking and not game deving. That's my thought. All right. Grace says, stressful to rest, 100% agree. Yeah, exactly. Don't do that. Get out of that stress cycle. That's your parents talking, or that's some external factor talking. I don't think we've ever learned naturally to feel stressed about not achieving more. That's learned behavior. At least that's what I realized about myself. But yeah, all right, let's move some stuff here. So we're going to say combat map goes into the combat state. This initial drawing of pieces, I want to do this during the battle grids update. So it would be probably physical process, just because, nah, we don't need to. I'm gonna do it under process, delta float. and we have this logic, which is drawing a bunch of stuff. First of all, we don't want to do any of this if the combat map has not been populated, right? So if combat map is null, we're going to skip this process. Wait, what is, did we not, I thought I gave it to the battle grid. Combat state. Oh, state has the map. Okay, cool. So we're probably going to do combat state dot combat map is empty. Then we're going to return. It seems like the battle grid doesn't have the combat state as part of its thing. So I'm going to do it. I mean, technically because, okay. My initial intention was that this battle grid will function in any game. So right now, this doesn't rely on anything other than what battle grid should be. So as soon as I add a dependency, meaning a parameter where the state bar game state or combat state becomes a requirement, hold on. Why is this not? Oh, it's because of this here. We're making this piece of technology specific to my game, which I don't like doing too much, but you know, I think it's forgivable. And this is where I guess like technically I could have a one that's like map handler, and I suppose instead of the map, well, we can have this. We could also have the battle grid as part of the state. And then we can have a state change, battle grid state change handler that updates the battle grid based on the state. That will decouple these two things. Maybe that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try doing that. So that instead of updating it here within the process of the battle grid, I'm going to make it so that battle grid is decoupled from the game logic. And I'm going to have a separate system. Hopefully, let's see. We could, I guess, just add it here and say this node is going to be called combat grid handler. And this will take in both the battle grid and the game state and do changes and graphical updates based on that. A lot of work. It's like it's kind of unnecessary decoupling that I'm doing because this game is just for me and I'm not going to have to reuse this ever again, probably. But let's try it out. You know, engineering best practices are there for a reason, so sometimes I benefit from it. So we'll do that. Combat grid handler kind of looks like well, it's not exactly UI, is it? Let's see. Let's say it is yeah, you know what? I'm gonna put it under it doesn't really fit in any of these folders, huh? Technically state, I guess. I'll just put it out here. Combat grid handler. Class name, combat grid handler. And what this is going to be doing is that this class is, or this node, I guess. Class node is responsible for updating battle grid of the current combat based on the state. Meaning a polling and or signal event based state reading will be done. Or something like that. I don't know. It's a kind of long-winded way of saying that, but here we are. Okay, the music is a little too loud in my ear. There you go. Okay, export var. We're going to have combat state here because that's one important thing that we're using. The state and then the signal bus could be easily global node, but if I'm trying to use this only for the combat, so if I make it global, there is a chance of attaching that unnecessarily on different modes, so that's why I'm doing this. We'll say battle grid. I mean, I could make it so that the battle grid is part of the state. So now state is being overloaded as kind of like the controller. We'll see. This may come back to bite me in the butt. We'll figure it out. Combat signal. So we're going to combat signal bus here. And during the initialization, we're going to put the combat map and the combat state. And then we'll also put battle grid into battle grid here. I don't think we're using this for anything else. It gets initialized over here. All right. All right. This. Now I can do the process here. The process will say, hey, if the combat state's combat map info is empty, don't do anything. Also, we want to make sure that the battle grid is ready. Battle grid is ready. So either the info is not available or the battle grid is not ready, then we're not going to do anything. If both conditions are clean to launch, we're going to say combat map, which will be combat map info will be used here. For each of the pieces in here, we're going to draw onto the battle grid. So we're going to also get the battle grid here. And then grab that like so. And then we're going to add the pieces to the battle grid. So this is under process, and this gets populated during initialization. So far, I'm going to test that everything that was working before is going to work with this new change. As expected, there's some error here. It seems like the combat state itself is null. That makes sense because I never populated it. So we'll come over here and populate these variables with the nodes. Should be good now. Sometimes I forget too. Start the standard combat here. Nice. Pieces are drawn. They're all there. Nothing else is broken. Beautiful. All right. Since this grid handler right here is, I think these pieces are already, it seems like it's already instantiated, meaning there's no deduping necessary. I'm not like recreating a piece every time there is one. But what I am doing is based on its grid position, I'm updating the piece's position, meaning if I do any action that changes its position, it'll update automatically without having to do any extra work. So I'm going to go to my combat action, look at my move ship action, and look at the execute here. And I'm going to quickly test this. I'm not going to do anything here. I'm just going to make it so that it moves +1 X position every time I click move. So combat state, battle grid, combat state, combat map info. We're going to grab the pieces here, I think. I don't think, yeah. Unless I have very specific function to be like, get me player piece. You know what? That might actually work. I might even not need to do that. So headache-free way to do that probably is var player piece is probably called ship piece? Something piece. Piece. Combat piece. I thought there was multiple pieces here. The ship piece is combat piece. Okay, cool. So I guess I'll just have to do combat piece here. It's funny because I keep talking to myself out loud of what I am doing. But technically, I don't think anybody understands what I'm doing. Anybody who comes in. So is there actually any use in me talking out loud while I'm coding and thinking out loud? Maybe not. But, you know, it's part of the streaming culture, I suppose. I'm basically rubber ducking, you guys. You are my rubber ducks. Strawberry folk. You know what I should have? Aside from this, I should have customizable strawberry folk where you can change the eye, the dresses, the clothes, and all that. Grace says, yes, talk out loud, please. Thank you. Thanks for the affirmation, Grace. Let's see. Noxie says, ooh, man, thanks. Help it not feel so solo, man. What, me talking feels less solo? Is that what it is? Grace says, I never finished a game, and it helps to know how people actually think through their coding. I see. It is overwhelming, I have to say. If I ever thought about how many things I need to do in entirety, I'll never be able to finish. But I think one thing that helps is like walking. If you take like 30 minutes, if you walk anywhere that would take 30 minutes or less time to walk to, then start walking. It's hard. It's a hard decision to make when you're first starting out, because you go, 30 minutes. Should I walk? Like 5 minutes is easier. But if you do that, you get used to making those like decisions of making 30-minute walk. I think that kind of applies to small incremental changes. Being able to look forward to and trusting that a small step builds into big gains. Now we're getting into the faux self-help book territory. I never read those, by the way. I never read self-help books. I never trusted those people that are out on TED Talk talking about their experiences and how young people should behave. And because, I don't know, it was my personality to want to always like be counterintuitive. If somebody said, you need to read books in order to become successful and blah, 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 then I will go, oh yeah, I'm going to show you how I can do this without following your rules. So I made it a point not to study as much in order to succeed in school, type of thing. Not a good thing, I think. But at the same time, what I'm saying is everybody's experience is so unique that the core truth is never about what you do or what you don't do, right? So take my words as a grain of salt. Corey says, yeah, it seems a bit crazy how you have all these files and their relationships just in your head. No documentation you're referring to. Oh, is this a read? Is this a read? Did I just get read? This sounds like a read. Oh, I can't imagine myself keeping all this information so unorganized, Ezra. It's truly a marvel that you can do this. Can you do this? No, I know. Grace says it's a compliment, lol. Yeah, no, I get it. That's funny. I could read it as a read. I have been doing software engineering for like 12 years now, I think. Or, I mean, if I count school years and all these other times, then it's like 20 years. So I got used to certain organizational structure and I know how I code. So like, as long as this code is mine, I know what I would do. So remembering things is never like remembering what I did here. It's just remembering how I think, which is not as hard. But I do have trouble remembering certain things like game mechanics and details. So I do that differently. I said do. McCrory says, when you become the only person to understand the structure of the software you work on at work. Exactly. I can never share this with anyone, I think. And you know what? My documentation is my video. Good luck, everyone. Everyone who comes after me, you're going to have to watch like years of video in order to understand my software. Let's see. Grace says, yeah, it seems a bit crazy how you I read that. Noxibo says, that only works for my own stuff, though. It takes serious effort to try to understand and remember someone else's project in my experience. Oh, yeah, for sure. You do definitely need to. And you complain about how people didn't document their code. And I do that too. And you know what? It doesn't matter how well documented things are. Like, you know, I worked at Amazon and Google. I keep talking about this. But I remember in recent years too, whenever I go into a new team, vast majority of the time, I am reading the doc and I am reading these like onboarding documentation / videos that they recorded for sessions to describe things, but nothing like none of those never helped me. What I like to do is actually dig in and like follow the code path and function calls. So I got really good at doing that to figure out. And then make my own chart. Some may say that that is an extremely inefficient way to learn, but yeah, that's what I got. It helps making it more personal. But yeah. Anyways, okay, so we're going to execute. But some of these like organizational structures are very simple. Like you see all these files, they're the same thing. These are abstract class called combat action. And combat action has these 3 things. And I have some documentation of what they're supposed to be. Like if I feel like the naming of the functions are so ambiguous that it can be one or the other, I do try to write it down to communicate what I intended at the time. But yeah. Anyway, so for move, we have a player piece, which we're going to get from the group. Not get groups. Is it get viewport in group? Not is in group. Get something group. Node in. I swear it's. Hold on. Is it on tree? Get tree. Nodes in group. Yes, get nodes in group. And some of the groups that we have out here are, there is a player. So we're going to say, give me a player piece. So this will be a player piece. We'll do get first node in group because there's only going to be one here. And then this is a combat piece that's already added as a child to the battle grid. So we don't have to do anything special. But let's say movement delta is a grid position of, I don't know, +1x position, right? So we're going to say, hey, player piece. Actually, let me make sure. Because player piece, we did make it so that the grid position is vector 2i. If the grid position gets updated, did I make it so that the grid handler automatically does that? So it grabs the grid position. For each of the keys in the combat map info, grabs the pieces and takes the piece and sets the position to the grid position. Yes. So it is sufficient. It is sufficient to... Whoa. What happened to... Whoa. Something's happening here. I didn't realize I had the game running the whole time. Look at all these error. Oh, I'm gonna crash. I'm gonna crash. Hold on. Let me, I don't want to crash. Let me close the debug. There's 269,000 lines of error. Yeah, that was close. We almost crashed the stream, guys. We survived. Kelso says, oh, you have combat system. Wow. Are you using AI for that combat system of yours? What do you mean? Like, are we talking about Gen AI for coding it? Or are we talking about, like, we're going to program some AI logic for the enemies? If the question is the latter, yes. I will make some AI system to make the pieces move automatically based on some logic. Grace says it's compliment. So read that. Noxibo says, I'm still at the point where I would intentionally make things obscure so if people come asking, I have someone to talk to about my project. What? You're not doing this in a company, right? Are you talking about it in company? Kelso says, yeah, just be careful for AI. Be careful for AI? What do you mean? What do you mean? Why are you making it sound so ominous? Oh, by the way, Twitch ads starting soon. I guess I should probably sync up the YouTube ads with it, huh? Did the ad already start? All right, YouTube, I'm going to insert ad here. I'll see you in a bit. I can't tell. Wait, is the ad actually running on Twitch? I have no idea. You know what? Whatever. That's not my problem. Noxibo says, "Ooh, no, I'm basically retired. No financial pressure or involvement." I see. Well, I wish I could say the same. I'm like close. I mean, I have been doing this for like 3 years now. And I haven't turned profit, but I'm kind of eating off of my savings. So some might see that fun employment / retirement in a position that is better than most out there who wants to do this. But I am still dwindling. I'm constantly fighting the temptation to go work for a big company again. But I already made a YouTube video saying that I'm not going to do it. So I won't do it. We'll just find big sponsors here and there. Right? And then we're going to make it big. And after that, rest is history. I really want to make a company where profit is not a problem and we just want to make cool things. And then I just basically provide opportunities for people to stably make their dreams come true. And only requirement on an annual review is, have you achieved what you wanted to achieve? That's the question that I want to ask to my employee. It's like, all right, you told me this is something that you want to explore and do. Have you done what you wanted to do? I think it's kind of funny because in some ways it's like saying I want to be in a position to parent every inner child. But you know, that's what I want for myself. Big dream. Kelso says, don't be so trust with them. You were talking about Gen AI. I don't use Gen AI. I don't use Gen AI for programming in general. I just don't know how to use it efficiently, even if I wanted to. I just don't trust it that much. All right, okay. So anyways, 3 line, very simple. I have a system, and during the execute, which I already connected where the action button clicking will automatically execute, and made it so that the grid updates automatically based on the data. And all I had to do was move the data. Simple enough. There's a little bit of complication I need to deal with, but I can test if my ship moves based on this. So let's do it. We have this. We're going to go to the navigation here. And then we're going to say move. It didn't do it. Move! Why won't you? Let's take a look. It might not be connected. We're going to go to the move ship action. Come over here. Execute gets executed. And then I want to see that get executed. Player piece. Okay, cool. Come over here. Restart. Get this guy. Go to the navigator. Move. Okay. It grabs a player piece, which has a value. And then the delta, the grid position for the player piece. Player piece is 1, 1. And this is going to make it 2, 1. So after this, before we're resuming, I'm going to come to the grid handler section. See if we can get here. So we go boop. And it comes over here. It already executed all those things. So we're going to look at, oh, I see. Okay. Good to know. What I do need to do, I think, is instead of updating the pieces position manually, I have to do it here. Update grid position, and then we're going to provide the piece, and then new position, which will be vector 2i. We do need to find it somewhere. We don't need to do that because it already has a grid position as part of it. So we say, hey, by pieces, and we're going to get the piece in the grid position. And then we're going to remove at var position object array, which will be array over here. And then we're going to find the piece. And then we're going to remove the piece. Remove at defined. So we removed it from the array. And then we're going to now add it. We're going to say add piece. And we're going to say piece here. But before doing that, we will update the grid position to the new position. Right. So what this is going to do is it's going to add the piece based on, there you go. Yeah. Based on its new grid position. It's going to be updated, and then the auto draw should draw that. Sick. A little complicated, but it'll work. Hasi says, LED stick to purple. I see. Are we talking a little bit more like violet purple or purple like royal blue purple? Bluer or redder? I think that's, I guess, the question. Fit top. It does work. It's just manual. Here. This is purple enough, right? There. Let's see. Is that considered purple? Unless you want this to be purple as well. Oh, thanks for something, somebody. I just heard a notification. I don't actually know what it is. Oh, it's a follow. Wait. Is it a follow? Hold on. What was it? How come my notification doesn't update? I don't know who that was. Yalv, thanks for the follow on Twitch. A few seconds ago? I feel like you followed me yesterday. You weren't here, though. Is this a refollow? Did you just want my attention? Well, thanks for the follow. Something crack in your icon screen at the back. Huh? Let's see. Hold on. Icon screen? Let me take a look. What are we talking about here? Oh. Crack? What icon screen? This? Right here? Oh, yeah, you can send if you redeem the points, you can add your drawing to this. Something hanging over my frame. Something hanging over my frame. There's a frame. We have one drawing. We have one more drawing. Oh, and then we have another drawing right here. Like that. Which one did you want to see? Whew, I'm sweating. That look awful. All right, let's increase the ISO here. Looks a little dark. I'll bring the light a little bit closer to my face so it feels a little bit brighter. Yeah, something hanging on that thing. Hanging on what thing? Sorry for being distracted, but we're gonna solve this together. Something hanging over your frame, I think. The digital art one. This one? Oh. Oh, yeah. You want to see what's hanging there? It's the plant. It's the leaves. Can you see it? Here. There you go. You can see it better with the backlight. I mean, it's a little too bright, but let's see. I don't know if this is necessary. Maybe this is a little better. Mm-hmm. Like that. A little bit of backlight, I guess, to light up the background. I mean, I wanted the background to be darker, so there's a separation between my face. But whatever, if you guys wanted to know what that is. Yalf says, yep, exactly. I gave you a follow yesterday, but you weren't streaming, so I refollowed. Thank you. Well, thanks for doing that. I like interaction regardless of what type, so here we are. I need to get a haircut. Ooh, LED stick to blue again? Okay. Oh, Hasi just wants to change the color. Here. Blue. And then blue. Now they're both blue. Whew. Blue was okay. Let's keep it at the beginning. Lovely plant. Thanks. Kelso says, your room's so cool. It's kind of messy right now, but thanks. I appreciate it. You want to see something? Look at this. Oh, I guess I gotta do a little full action. Little potion. Can you see the swirl? Like a little marbling swirl. Yeah, a little potion. This one actually has a potion description of what this is. Ah, come on. I will make a terrible... Oh, there it is. See? Funny. Funny little description. Halftime wizard, halftime dev. Yeah, exactly. A wizarding school. It's my little potion. My little lucky potion. Oh my gosh, I'm sweating so much. I'm so mad that our apartment just decided that AC is not going to work for another 3 weeks. I don't know what to do about it. Like, we're mad. We're like, we're going to complain. But that's not going to make it any... like, broken AC is going to be broken AC. Windows... Our windows... Like, our unit's windows are, like, sealed. Like, they can't be opened. So there's no way to, like, ventilate. Outside is a lot cooler, and we can't ventilate. So we can't even do, like... ask for a portable AC unit to just kind of temporarily relieve Only thing we can do is open the hallway door and try to ventilate hot air with the fan. It does not do a good job. Life is rough. Whew. Let's see. Noxibo says, I'm still at the point where I would intentionally make... No, I already read that. Oh, says, oh no, I'm basically retired. No, I already read that already. Gosh, it's hard to catch up. Oh yeah, says, time to generate even more heat. Yeah, exactly. You know, my laptop. So my streaming device, so I have my gaming device. But I also have a streaming device. I decided to do this because, you know what, I'm going to develop my games. So on the move, right? So I figured, oh my gosh, we need to do something about this. This debugging message is kind of ridiculous. I'm gonna have to fix something. Oh my gosh. My stream's gonna crash again. Hold on. I'm gonna figure it out. I gotta fix that error message before it becomes 100,000. So it doesn't freak out. But right now, look. My laptop CPU is running at 86 Celsius. I have a fan, but it doesn't help because the room is hot. So there's not much like heat dissipation. And also it's keeping my room hot. I have all the lighting on. And I have the door closed. So yeah, every time I stream, I'm just basically having a little sauna moment. All the things that I do for you guys. The sacrifices I make. More the reason you should support me in my suffering, right? Kelso says they trying to save electric bill. It's so stupid. They're like, I mean, I'm like, my part of me is like a little suspicious of them. I wonder how much they're going to save. But I do want to say like compass, like it's actually dangerous because internal temperature goes to like 90 or 87, right? We have like animals, we have plants. Like we weren't expecting this was going to be a thing and it's taking this long. I feel like it should be comp for something. I don't know. Bonten says, hi Ezra, I'm new to Godot, but I am a C# developer. Can you suggest an inventory system for C#? Inventory system for C# specifically? I mean, luckily Godot, you can co-use C# and GDScript. So that's an option. I don't know if there's an inventory system specifically made for C#. So I can't have a really good suggestion. But here, how about this? So there's a beta asset store, official asset store. So this is nothing suspicious. It was released a few months ago, so they might have something. Though a lot of these are like node specific. Inventory system. GD inventory system. Not bad, but that sounds like it's GDScript. I don't know. Take a look. Controller icon. Projectile engine. That's pretty cool. Ooh. This is perfect for like bullet hell. Oh, that's so cool. I mean, I had to make this myself, but that's very useful. Anyways, I'm getting distracted now. Take a look at the SS store. It's called store-beta.godotengine.org. Here, why not? I can just do this here. Boop. Otherwise, make it yourself. Sorry. But yeah. All right, well, let's find that error message. Bonton says, got it, ... Thanks. I wish I could help, dude, but I never used my watches. Like, you've been sitting for too long. Time to get moving. I'm like, what? Why? That was never my goal. It's like, you're too fat. Start moving. I'm sweating my butt here. Oh, what's going on? Okay, so I see some actions here. Function signature to the... Oh, okay. There's some easy fix here. So heal. Heal action. Wait, what happened to the heal action? Heal action GD. Oh. Heal action. Oh, okay. This one doesn't match because needs that. All right. What else? Is there some other action I need to update? Anyways, I want to see what the errors are, first of all. Fontaine says, oh, it's okay. I'll look into it. Site, thanks. Yeah, no problem. I have a feeling it's not very helpful. I know that's not what you want to hear. Oh, okay, stop. All right, let's see what's going on here. Combat grid handler can't add child. Ooh, it's already apparent. Oh, right. Okay. Right. What I'm going to do here, I think, I should probably do a double check here. Battle grid if piece get parent is null, then we add it to here. If it's not null, but it is not battle grid, then we want to reparent a piece. Reparent it to battle grid. Boom. Should do it, I think. I mean, this is a node action. Hopefully that'll get rid of all those little pesky error messaging. Bunsen says, thanks again. Thanks for nothing. Sorry, I wish I knew. Okay, at least no error here. I'm going to click on this. Do a move. Okay. Resume. Boom. Did it move? No, it didn't. Okay, let me think about this. Player piece. Action has executed, and once it executes, I want to see it over here. Oh wait, did I? Oh right. I don't want to do it this way. I want to do it like, I want to make it so that combat state dot battle grid. No, it's not battle grid. It's map info. Map info. We're going to say update grid position, and we're going to grab the player piece and move it to the new position, which would be player piece's grid position plus the delta, movement delta, instead of directly updating it, right? Because that's what we determined should be done. So we're going to restart the game. Noxipo says, TIL, the tab container also takes plane control nodes. Tab container? Today I learned the tab container also takes plane control nodes. Yeah, why wouldn't it? I think all control nodes and its children takes any control node, right? You do need to define its minimum size, though. Oh! Hey, yo! It's moving. Oh. Well, that needs to be fixed, but at least it's moving. Promising. Okay. Few things. Data gets updated, right? So data moves on. The combat grid handler moves the position of the piece immediately. This is what that does. If I want to make it so that whenever the position changes, the piece gradually transition the position. I think what we can do, since we're directly updating the position anyways, put a setter to the position. I'm not really sure if I can overload load an existing function. Like, is it going to yell at me? Potentially. I want to see. I want to see. Combat piece. Let's say I do... Probably not. I think it's going to yell at me. Because it's like, it usually has the logic to update the global position as well. So I think I might have to go func move piece to a new position. And then do some magic here. Yeah. And I think we're just going to tween this. Nothing complicated here. So over here, instead of setting the piece, we're going to say move piece to the new position. And this is only... I think this should only happen because if it doesn't have a parent, then, you know, there's no point in doing animation. So basically, if this piece doesn't have any parent, meaning it has no visual presence on the board, then immediately update the position here. Sick, and then return. Otherwise, we're probably going to have our movement tween, which will be create tween here. And then we want cubic, which is basically, theoretically, cubic movement is ease in and ease out, right? Because it goes from slow to fast to slow. We learn something new every day anyways, Noxipo. So I'm glad you found your learning today. Whew. All right. Let's see how long I can stay on stream before I burn off. Maybe I can take a little bathroom break, grab some water, cool off. Bring the fan in. It might be a little noisy, but it'll help me survive. At least dry off my sweat a little bit. Move in tween a set property. Hello. Property. Tween property. That's right. And then we're going to say self position. Final value being the new position. And it's going to take, I don't know, 0.2 seconds. And then when it's done, whenever it has something, I think I'm going to say, signal, because I'm thinking certain animations can be canceled. Right. I wonder if we can make it so that we can listen to tween being killed. Kill. There's no signal for killing it, right? What about finished? With this trigger on kill. Emit it when the tween has finished all tweening. Never emit it when the tween is set to infinite looping. Kill. Oh, hey, what? Wait, how come the document is not as zoomed in? Hold on. Also, it's kind of weird. This editor, I don't know what happened to this. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Oh, I'm getting so distracted. Kill. I want to see the kill function here. Kill function here. Aborts all tweening operation and invalidates the tween. What other signals does it have? Okay, so the idea is if something happens where the tween is interrupted, whatever its goal is should happen immediately, right? Noxibo says, sorry if it seems like I'm saying random stuff. I probably am, but you're a great motivation to get cracking on my own projects. Yeah, no problem. Hey, I'm here for that. No need to apologize. Hey, if I'm confused, I'm confused. I'm not shaming you for it. I just ask questions, you see. It doesn't really say that the finished signal will trigger on kill. Yeah. Doesn't really say anything about that. So what I think I'm going to do, we have movement tween here. The new position is target position, I think. Our target position, vector 2, and basically on this, target position will equal to the new position. Tweening would be the tween. If we come through here. Well, I mean, yeah, okay. So if we're about to animate, a new command came through saying that, hey, pieces should be moved, and I was in the middle of tweening anyways, then I feel like that previous tween should be killed. So we probably should have a movement tweener, which is tween. And we're going to say, hey, movement tween, you are this thing. And then we're going to do all of these. But if movement tween is running, is that what we want to do? I know there's a pattern that it suggests. It says, if tween exists, kill it. Oh, okay. So do a new one. So we're going to assume if tween exists, kill it. In addition, we're also going to update the position to the target position. And then we're going to update the target position and create a new twin and do that. All right, cool. So we can spam move button and it'll do it. And that's the move piece, which I'm already calling. Let's see if we have a little nice slide animation here. Boom, boom. All right, move. Oh, it just snaps in there. That's not what I intended. Let's take a look again. Whoa. Oh, right. Uh-huh. Okay. I see. 0. Approximate. Distance to new position is 0. Or, not distance, I guess. We'll say if position minus new position, right, the difference of the vector is 0 approximate, meaning they're basically the same thing, then don't do anything. Don't update it because it's already there. So on a repeat call, it should ignore this call because it's calling on every process. So we're ignoring a process call that's the same. That's not going to work though. All right. Hold on. Because the problem is we're trying to move to a new spot. A new move piece call is happening. Okay, I think what we actually need to do, maybe we don't call it repeatedly. That's gonna suck. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna have to do. Kogan says, hey, do you have any advice for getting better at leak code type question for technical interview? You know what? Honestly, the best result I had with those things, I mean, okay, nothing beats practice, first of all. But if your goal is to get better for the purpose of interview, like gamifying it, then it all like the thing about leak code questions are, it's very predictable. They revolve around the basically same concept, right? There you have like the array, linked list, graph search, blah, 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 all those things. You memorize a template. So for example, if you say graph search, but then thing is that doesn't help you come up with ways to solve it. So for example, you do need to get to a point where you go, I see a problem. I see the solution will involve me probably doing a graph search. Like you should be able to find that out. That only happens by looking at a lot of solutions. And then looking at different ways that people do it. That will get your brain into kind of like in tune with intuitively understanding when you would use what data structure to do what. Because there are a limited number of patterns that you will see within these leak code space, right? It's like, oh, if it's scheduling, use this. If it's like some sort of locker, parking lot, or retrieval importance things, use map. If it is like, I don't know. Anyways, those things kind of happen. So you just kind of have to look at solutions all the time. But once you figure out that you can do these things, like you can figure out the solution, but then you're like frustrated by the speed at which you do it, then you do need to start memorizing templates. That's my recommendation. But this also means that you have to know the fundamentals of like data structure that we talked about. I don't know if you were here. Were you here when we talked about the whole OOVN and stuff like that? Yeah. I mean, generally speaking, if it's really difficult where you have to nest iteration, look at it to see if you can iterate multiple times outside. Once, twice, three times, as opposed to iterating with an iteration. Aside of that, see if you can split it in half. If you do half, 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 then it's log of n. So that's faster than n. So then it's okay to iterate through. There's some kind of intuition. It's kind of funny because leak code questions are like solution is already there. Solution is always, how would you do it if you were doing this by hand? Like if you were doing it not with program, but like manually, how would you do it? Make that into a program, right? That's the brute force, right? The most simplistic answer. And to get clever, wherever is the hardest part, like the longest taking part that takes the longest computationally, can you knock it down? If it is nested, can you make it not nested? If it is recursive, can you make it not recursive? And if that's not possible, can you go one up level higher, which is, as I said, binary, splitting half, half, half. So I don't know. I mean, it's like already solved. Now, having said this, do I know how to solve every problem? No. I get stuck on problems still. But, you know, I don't get discouraged by that. Honestly, it's learning how to do. This is just learning how to do leak code. So you just need to practice. Just keep doing it consistently. Like you get rusty. I got rusty. I've done a ton and I can probably ace every interview back in the day. But now I'm like, I haven't done it in a while, so I'm out of practice. I can get to that point. So if you don't do it, you will get rusty. So don't feel too sad about not being able to do it. All right, okay. I'm going to do move piece here. So navigation combo. And then the grid handler is doing the move piece on every process. So instead of doing that, I think what I want to do instead is basically only... Nah, I don't want to even do that, do I? Let's see, move action. Okay. I'm going to have a signal for this one. I'm going to say signal piece position changed, right? We're going to provide the piece and then the new position. Like so. And that's what's going to be sent out instead. So we updated the grid position, and then we're going to emit that from the signal bus. Combat signal bus. Oops. Like that. That means the grid handler, instead of actually updating this on process, what I think I should do is for it to listen to that. So combat signal bus, piece position changed. We'll connect it to on piece position update or changed, which will be over here. Func. And it takes in piece and the new position, right? Piece. Combat. Piece and then new position. Vector 2i. This is where we're going to grab the piece and do move piece command. And that's all swell. The grid has been updated. Everything is great. It's going to do a move piece command to a new position. Battle grid is retrieved from there. That also means we don't want to do this drawing on process. We want to do it outside of that. Func initialize pieces. So we're going to get rid of this real quick. Get rid of this. Well, we can keep it, I think. We're just going to say position equals this. All right. And so during the navigation combat, we'll just go battle grid, or not battle grid, combat. We gave it to state, huh? Do I call it or signal it? I'm going to call this one. I could say reset as a signal and have pieces listen to it. But that could be a little bit of hassle. So we'll have combat grid handler here. And then over down here, we'll just call initialize pieces. Which will place them in the thing on the first place. And on movement, it's going to try and move the pieces. All right, let's see if that works better. Kokana says, thank you. I'm quite bad at solving LeetCode problems at the moment. Haha. I mean, even LeetCode has like little course and exercise thing. Just blindly follow them and see what happens. Noxibo says, and don't assume if you don't make it that it's your fault. Maybe they just suck at asking the right questions. Hey, he knows what I'm talking about, or they know what they're talking about. I'll have you know. Hold on. Oh, right. I need to provide the piece. Player piece, and then new position would be... I guess I don't really need to do the new position. Sorry, I'm going to answer your question or answer that statement in a bit. Let me just finish this up. Grid helper. Signal bus is right here. It's going to listen to that. Comes over here. Don't need a new position. It's just going to grab the pieces. Grid position. It's going to try to move it. Right. Update grid position on the combat map, which will do data manipulation. Okay, cool. A little complicated. I have a feeling that this is a little bit too highly coupled, but we'll see. Anyways, yeah. Lucky is true. You can get lucky and unlucky in an interview. You could know the same information and two different interviewer will pass you versus not pass you. It really depends on... Oh, hey, yo. That looks good. Okay. Two different interviewers might give you two different results, which happens all the time. And that's why they also have like 5 people interviewing you and then there's a majority thing. Or like one strong voiced, they always go, okay, is your opinion a strong hire or a weak hire? And then somebody goes, for me, it's a strong no hire. If there's anyone who says strong no hire, the entire process is duped for you, even if you did strong hire for other people. Now, if it's like strong hire versus strong no hire, maybe they would be like, okay, well, it's risky. Do we have the fund for it? Blah, blah, blah. They do that, but weird things happen there. But yeah, you can get lucky. You know everything. You can know everything depending on the condition, depending on the person's condition who's interviewing you, depending on what they're prioritizing on that day. You may or may not get it. So failing an interview doesn't necessarily mean you did fail for a reason. It doesn't have to have a proper reason. For example, I didn't prep any differently between my interviews. While I was working in Amazon, I was interviewing for Google like maybe once every 2 years. And I failed like 4 times. And I didn't care because I was already had a job. I just wanted to try it out. I didn't change anything. And suddenly I got in, right? It's like that. And knowing and having interviewed people, I know why that might be. So yeah, don't get discouraged. Keep practicing, keep doing it. Good or bad means nothing, honestly. You can't really be good at it. You can't really be bad at it. It's just you can only be used to it, I think. Okay, so ships are moving. Next thing I need to do with this movement, instead of the piece moving immediately like that, I want to make it so that when I click move, a grid pops up, or yeah, like the green field of where I can go pops up based on the ship's movement speed. And then I get to click on it. So I don't know what the best way. I mean, I guess I could. Drawing this square is going to be kind of difficult because it's not set. So one headache that I have caused myself is that this battle grid is just lines drawn. These are 1, 2, 3, 4. These are, each cell is not a cell. I drew this by drawing lines at a certain angle based on this parameter. So I need to do a little bit of math to be like, oh, if I want to, I guess I could do polygon though. Would that work? Technically, no, but then that's no. That's too much thinking. So I'm going to try to calculate the shape of this based on these parameters and then draw it on each of the grid like a piece. So we're going to make a what is this called? Grid piece. It's technically 200 by 200 that's squashed. I wonder if I can actually know how big this is. I might be able to. This is how I would cheat this. I can draw a line and then draw a point between this, and this. Look at the thing and kind of generally tell. Okay, calculator says 139. So it's 278 by basically 375, 450. So that is 450 minus 301, 149. 278 by 149. Right now it is. So roughly we got 278 by 149. A little vague. I'm sure it can be smaller than that. If I really want to be precise, it's probably something like this. Like that. That is 140. Yeah, 145. So 280 by 450 minus 300, which is 450 minus 300, 150. So 150, 280 by 150. This is a little bit cleaner. 280 by 150. And then I could just draw a white entity. Halfway. How do I do this? What's the smartest way to do this? I guess if I do this from this edge all the way to this edge, we'll get this. We got one halfway here. Bring it up. Here? Is that halfway? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I think. Let's see. That's off by 1. That's not bad. And then over here, we got, oh, this is also odd number. Do that. So we can just now draw a straight line between these 2 points. Like that. Oops. Like so. Take that. Yeah. There you go. Like that. Yay. So we'll call this, I guess it's still UI. Under combat UI. And then this is grid marker or grid overlay. Save as PNG file. Now we can get rid of this real quick. Whew. Okay, and then we can create a new piece, new combat piece. We're gonna call this grid overlay. Save that as that under pieces. Combat pieces, grid overlay. Overlay. And we'll just simply add sprite to it. Add the UI sprite. So nice. And then basically we'll create a new one that extends the combat piece. Can I not do that? Let's see, we'll detach this and attach grid overlay script, which extends combat piece, class name, grid overlay. And this one probably is going to be like var is allowed, which will be a Boolean value. We're gonna have some constant value, const, or probably export var allowed color, should be color here, export var empty will be empty, not allowed color. Excuse me. We're gonna set a value. Hey Swagga. Says, yo Onk, guess who's back? Swagga's back. Hi. Welcome back. I'm still burning up here. I don't know how long I have on me right now. Whew. Oh, I said I'm going to take a break. Hold on. Let me just do this and then I'm going to take a quick break. Because I do need to get more water. I mean, I do have water, but it's definitely hot. I need to open the window or door. Let the heat vent out. Okay, so we'll say if it is allowed, we're going to take the... I suppose I should do one of these things. Well, I don't even need to do that, huh? Func update color or render, I guess. So if it is, we'll say modulate equals allowed color if is allowed, else not allowed color. And allowed color, we're gonna choose some variation of digital green. Not allowed color would be something more purpley, probably. Maybe red is okay. Red orange is not bad either. But darker, not bad. Okay. Noxiba says, do you have a schedule you're aiming for? It's midnight here, so I should go. Oh. No, I definitely try to do around 3 hours at least. I have Monday, Wednesday, and Friday streaming is my goal. Monday, Wednesday, Friday Pacific time. I usually announce it on Discord when I get on, so you can join my Discord if you really want to know. Swagga says, did you see this already? I can't see links. I'm sorry. You can DM me the link, or let's see, you can share it on Discord, but let me know what, or you can break up the link into multiple pieces so we can actually see what you're writing. I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah. Well, thanks Noxibo for hanging out. I appreciate it. You may go, but I will be back on Friday my time, so in 2 days. Okay. Let's see. I did that. Grid overlay has been created with color. So now Noxibo says, all right, I'll keep an eye out. All right, see ya. So I says, I'm going to join Discord. Oh, I see. Okay. Sorry for the inconvenience. It's just better to go through this inconvenient or not getting certain links sometimes than deal with all the spam links sometimes. Let's see. So what we said, we're going to create a battle grid here. On UI, I think what I need to do is this should be combat grid handler. This one should have overlay piece. Packed scene here. It's going to be a preload of overlay piece here. Oops. I have to do it this way, it seems. And then what we're going to do is, oops. Have some basic functions, I think. Function, place, or place overlay, grid position, like that. Is allowed. By default, it'll be true. So we're going to place a single overlay in a single spot. We're going to have clear overlay, which will delete all the overlays. And then we can have func overlay place range overlay, which will be grid position or center position, vector to I, min, range, max range. And then we can start doing some shapes specifically later, but we'll do that here. For now, all right. Swagga says, it's for safety, gotcha. Yeah, you understand. Thanks for understanding. Let's see what you're sharing. Welcome, channel. Hello, Swagga. Hello. I don't know where you're going to change, but make sure you go to the rules channel and then click this check mark to get some of the right access to other ones. Noxibo says, ooh, I see you also announce your streams on Discord. Should advertise with that too. Oh, yeah, I announced my stream on my Discord. Yeah. I mean, whenever I update, like if I upload videos, they're groups, so do the survey thing because you don't want to get spammed with some notification. Link on private? Okay. Let me take a look. I won't expose your name here. Message pending. All right. What is this? Winux OS? WinUX? All right, well, better not steal my information. Let's see. What is that? Tell me, what is it? I've never seen it, okay? That's the answer. If you're asking me, if your question is, have I seen it? Winux, Windows theme over Linux. Oh, weird. And it's Windows 11 theme. Huh. It's just for visuals, right? It's not like functionally. It's just theme. That's kind of interesting. Huh. I guess if you're really missing your Windows theme while using Linux, you can use it. It's pretty cool, I guess. Swagga says, that's a new team making OS with Windows Fast Linux. Haha, that's very interesting. Yeah, it is pretty interesting. Huh. Noxibo says, heresy, time to go. All right, good luck. Thanks, Noxibo. See ya. Thanks for following and all that. All right, so we're gonna place an overlay. Simple enough for now. We're not gonna do any pooling optimization. We're just gonna create and forget. So we have overlay piece, which will be one of these things, grid overlay. And then I think we can place it. Go battle grid. We said we do it by, let's see, combat state battle grid. And then from the battle grid, we just simply go, well, before the battle grid, I think we have to update it in the info, right? So we'll do the combat map info. And then we're going to add the piece here. But before that, we have to update its grid position. This is too complicated. Honestly, this is like a really bad way to do this because there's no singular way to do all this. I should probably have a singular position for this. But alas. All right, so we're adding a piece into the information. Once the information is added, I do think we need to add it to the map if it's the first time being placed, right? So we'll say battle grid. Grid to local, add child, I guess? Or what are we doing in the initialization? We got the battle grid. We get the grid to local, set its position, and add it as a child. Yeah, this is what I'm doing here. I guess func place piece on grid. Piece, combat piece. It's just gonna do one of these things. We have the piece, grid position, battle grid, blah, blah, blah. All that. Grid position will be pieces, grid position. And then we're doing that. So we'll do pieces position will be the grid position of all this, blah, blah, blah. So we'll just provide the piece here. Nice. That also means I should be able to just do that over here. Overlay piece. Okay. That should do it. It's complaining that nobody's calling it, but it's okay. I think that's what it's complaining about. Is allowed is not used. Oh, yeah, it's true. And then we'll say overlay piece is allowed will equal to is allowed. So it'll be green or red based on that. Clear overlay. I do think that we should probably have a group thing. So let's see. When we're clearing it, we gotta clear it out of the combat map first. So we'll go through the pieces. Combat map add piece gets added here on the grid position. Oh, update grid position is a thing. Yeah, that's okay. And then we're gonna say func remove piece. I'll just simply, I think, look for its grid position, which I think we were already doing this here. Like that. So we get the position object from the grid position. We remove it at blah, blah, blah. So we remove it from this. We don't need the group index at all, I don't think. Excuse me. Okay, so we can remove piece with this command. So on clear overlay, we're probably going to grab all the grid overlay, which I think we should probably have a group for. It's not neutral. It should probably grid overlay group. And we're going to look at the grid handler here and say get tree, get nodes in group, grid overlay, and these are going to be array of all the overlay pieces. And we're going to remove it from the map. So we have combat map here. We say for all the overlay piece in this group, we're going to remove it from the combat map info. And then we want to remove it from the battle grid. Combat map here, place piece on grid here is done by this. We're going to do func remove piece from grid, which will get the battle grid. And I guess it'll just remove it from that. Remove child, the piece. Simple enough. So on clear overlay, for each one of them, it'll remove it from there as well. And then after that, we'll queue free so the overlays disappear. I'm not gonna worry. Well, I guess I should worry about the range here. Place overlay on range. So what we're gonna do is for distance. I guess I don't know. Minimum to max. Because distance is from the center, technically. That's going to be a little bit trickier. Let's think. We have a center position, and then we're going to look at, well, we're going to ripple out, I think. And if that Manhattan distance is greater, I mean, I guess there's only some certain amount of ways to add to the position. Let's see if we can reverse engineer this. Given a position, if I say range 3, can I figure out what that means? I can add 3 in all combination. Those are, so you have 3, and you can do 1 to the x, 2 to the y, 2 to the x, 1 to the y, 3 to the x, 0 to the y. Those are all 3. So that means for each component in the vector, I am swinging the range from x to y, and that's everything. So we can say func positions in exact range, right? Get positions in exact range. And we say it's going to return array of vector 2i, which is the grid position. and we say, hey, center is this, and range is this. What we can do is for range in 0, so in range, oh, I guess it uses the same thing. Distance. In range 0 to the distance. So I can just go for I and distance, which will go through everything exclusive. So I do think that it needs to be +1, right? Because we want to go from 0 all the way to actual number it is. And to the center, we're gonna xi, and then center y will be distance minus I, right? Because if this is 3, that means it's gonna be this, right? And that vector 2i of x plus I and y, oh, you know what? I can just do it this way instead. Vector 2i, position in range. Oops. Will be center plus I and distance minus I. And that will be the result. Result will be array of vector 2i. And that's what's going to get edit, pushback. All right. And return the result here. Cool. So this will give all the positions within that range. So we're going to say for distance in range of minimum range to max range, which I think is inclusive. B and N starts from B, increases by 1, stops before N. Oh, it's exclusive, huh? So we're going to say max range +1. We're going to get positions in exact range. So we'll say distance from the center position. And this will give us array for position in range. This vector, we're going to simply place the overlay on those position in range. For now is true, nothing else. All right, I think. So that should put these like square grids on those range, I think. Time to test it if it actually works or not. A lot of like theoretical solution here. So what I want to do, this is a place range overlay thing. Okay, cool. So under the action for move, we can say, instead of actually moving things now, we're going to make new signal called combat signal bus. Show overlay or range overlay. And then it'll be, I don't know, for the player piece, Oops. Player piece. Grid position. So it'll take the position and the range. I'll say let's say you can move 2 spots for testing purposes. Because if I do just one, it's hard to tell. And we'll test for every one of these. Signal this, and we have center vector 2i, and then distance or range, which is I. And when that is heard by the grid handler, combat signal bus something range, show range overlay, and we're going to connect it on show overlay. We'll have one of these things, and it's going to take the center and then range. It'll just call clear overlay first. Make sure it doesn't have it. Well, we don't really need to do it. I'm going to assume that that's already called there. We're going to say place range overlay. From the center 1 to max, which will be 0, or range. We're going to do that. What's a warning here? Oh, distance. Like so. So it's going to trigger on move. It's going to try to draw that. All right. Let's see if it draws it correctly, shall we? And then I think we can call it. Ooh. It's saying that this is not a function. Yeah, of course it's not a function. There you go. Whoops. Okay. Just one debug at a time. Yep. Here, and we're going to click move. Ooh, almost. Look at that. It's also not green, which kind of is annoying, but we'll see. We'll figure it out. Oh yeah, I didn't do that properly. But almost 1, 2. I mean, this is 1, 2, 1, 2 here. It seems like I only did the pluses, not the minuses. So we're going to have to do the minuses as well. So let's do that. For the range thing, it's going to be under grid handler. It's going to say get positions in exact range. It's probably going to go from ranges between minus. Oh, well, I guess. Yeah, you can do both actually. So position and range, and we kind of have neg pause and range will be center minus this value. So we're going to add both of them. Here we go. Should be good. That should be all the things. Except if these, we're gonna have to filter this, right? So after pushing it, or before pushing it, if position and range is outside of these things. So for example, if X, you know what? I can do the filtering afterwards, honestly. So we'll do result, filter, function, position, which is vector 2, grid pause, which is vector 2i. We're going to check if grid positions X is greater than equal to 0, first of all. And grid position X is less than the size of the map, which I think we can get it from the map info. Combat map info, size X. In addition, grid position y is greater than or equal to 0, and grid position y is less than the map's limit. Map size y, like so. All right, so it should result. It should work, I think. Filter, yep. So we're gonna say result equals this, and then we're gonna do that. Let's see. Boom. All right. Let's see. We click on it. Go to the navigation. Click move. Oh, almost. I mean, it's doing the limitation thing right. Also, I feel like these the draw order should be below, honestly. This ship piece, grid overlay, visibility should be -1. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Maybe even -2, honestly. Yeah, there you go. Maybe like so. Okay. Seems like it's doing this side and this side, but not this. Why is that? Because this is -1, +1. The sweeping action is not exactly all correct. Let's see. So we're doing a minus version of this. Because we're sweeping from, we're going from 0, for example, to 2. So we go 0, 1, 2. This one goes 0, 1, 2. This one goes 0, -1, -2. And this one is going from, I guess there should be a combination of those two in some cases. Yeah. Okay. And then it also needs to be deduped, I think. So we're going to say result set will be dictionary of vector 2i to boolean. We're just going to simply, instead of pushing to the result here, result set is going to grab these positions and set it to true. And then this will be the keys. Just gotta make sure we do this properly here. So the variations are center plus this, which is, for example, 1 and 2. Okay. So if it's 1, 1, technically you have one that's added 1 to only one side. There's one that's added add 1, 1, add 1, -1. For 2, we're splitting 1, 1, 1 and -1. I see. So we need all combinations of those two values. So we need one. There's actually 4 potential candidates. So we're adding this, adding both values are negative, like so. Only one of the values are negative, like so. And then we're filtering. We're setting, doing the set. We're filtering by the range. I think that should be good. Let's see if it actually works. Boom. All right. Go here, navigation, move. Ah, beautiful. It's working. These are all ranges of 2. So if I change this to be ranges of 1, should reflect accordingly. Boom, move. Yeah. And let's, for the sake of it, let's do 3. Move shift action 3. Mm-hmm. Yep. Beautiful. Look at that. Actually, yeah, no, this is out of range. Good. I think it's working. One way to test even better. Well, I mean, it'll be 1. Okay, we'll find out if it doesn't work anyways. So we'll, for now, make it so that it's range of 1. Beautiful. Okay, I think we're in a good place here. So we can put overlay, so we can put some sort of grid out there based on the range to indicate the range. We have some implementations to help us. We do need to cancel the action though. If I do move, this needs to go away. Unless I can cancel. I guess I should be able to right click and cancel this. We'll figure it out. Anyways, but some fundamental functionality has been added. All right. Let's see. Oh man, this is so toasty out here. All right, thanks everyone for watching. I guess we can kind of call it. I know it's a little early. It's 3:20. You know what? We'll be better on Friday. I'm definitely gonna get online earlier on Friday. Probably earlier stream. I don't have any obligations other than streaming in the morning, so I should be able to do that. So yeah, we'll rate out. We went to Covino last time. I guess we haven't been to Big Boy in a while, and Big Boy just started, so we can go to Big Boy. All right, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for being with me here. Once again, I stream Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so keep up with it. See y'all later. Yeah, that's it. Goodbye. And then YouTube. I gotta say bye to YouTube as well today. Once the raid is complete, there it is.